If you're subscribed to this channel, then you don't come here expecting me to create a generic looking 7'4" purple man, uploading him to community creations and calling him Thanos for some unintelligible reason. Rather, if you're subscribed to this channel, you're here knowing that I'm committed to giving you top-notch COD content. So if you enjoy this video, please subscribe and leave a like and a comment, and that will keep me motivated to creating more videos like these. Keep in mind, I do not upload tutorial videos too often. Anyways, today I'm going to show you how to make Chatterer from the Hellraiser universe. I've made the assets for Chatterer available in my Discord server, and the link will be included in the description. Anyways, let's get down to business. We'll start with the height and weight of Chatterer. I made him 5 feet 9 inches tall because the original actor who played Chatterer was 5 feet 9 inches tall. I made Chatterer 640 pounds to compensate for the in-game physics. I do not want light heavyweights or cruiserweights, for example, affecting this extra-dimensional entity. So if you're interested in that role-playing aspect, I recommend making Chatterer a super heavyweight. With respect to his body, there's quite a bit of work that goes into the body. It's pretty complex, so let me show you. I basically did almost nothing. So I adjusted the skin color to make it a little bit more fleshy, and this is all I did for the body customization. I made the stomach a little bit wider because it was a little bit more accurate to the character. So let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's look at the attire. So he has 2 tattoos. One is on the front of his neck, and it's to cover up the space between his mask and the clothing that he's wearing. And on the back, there's similarly another image, and it's similar, just covering up the space between his head and the clothing that he's wearing. Let's proceed to the upper body. So, oops, that's the tattoo I was looking at. With respect to the upper body, let's go. I use this specific piece of clothing, but you don't have to use it. Keep in mind that this piece of clothing is DLC, but there are non-DLC options available to you as well. So, for example, where is that image I'm looking for? Oh, that's not it. There's a better one. I think it was this one. Just make it all black. Works just the same. Looks just as good. Anyways, with respect to the images that I used, you need to mind the layer ordering to some degrees. So let's start with this back image and take note of which layers are on top of which layers. So here's the scaling that I use. So just pay attention to which layers are on top of which layers. So you can see what I did there. And on top of this layer, I included basically an image that goes on his butt, and it kind of fits on Chatterer like underwear, like such. Similarly, I did something like that to the front of his torso. So you have this torso piece right here, for example. Here's the scaling. Just pay attention. And then I put something similar on his crotch area, and it fits like underwear. Now, below those images are images that go on his legs. I think they're pretty straightforward, which ones go on his kneecaps and which ones go on his calves. Now, the same images that I used on the front of his legs, I used on the back of his legs. The reason that I did that is because I noticed that once I started using certain pieces that my image points were going to exceed the game's capacity, so I had to repeat certain layers. With respect to Chatterer's upper arms, the same image that I used on his upper legs, I used on his upper arms. Just again, that's due to the game's the image capacity. There's just internal limits to the game, and sometimes you can't get exactly what you want. But I did use the proper images for his forearms. So if you look at his forearms, so this same image that I used on the front of his forearm, I used on the back of his forearm, and I did that on both sides of his arms as well. Now, if I'm not missing something, the last image should be this neck piece. So again, you just place it on his neck. Finally, there is the headpiece, the most interesting part of Chatterer. So I used this specific mask. I made it the same color as the images that I used for Chatterer. You need to mind the layer ordering to some degree. So take note of the layer ordering once again. And, oops. Let me show you. There you go. So you can kind of see how these images fit, and you're going to have to scale them, and you're just going to have to tinker with them manually until they look like they're lining up together. And then, of course, you're going to do something similar with the sides of his face. And then on top of that, of course, you want the front of his face. So here's the scaling again. Here, you got an idea of where the front of his face goes. And then finally, on the back of his head, you're going to use that back tattoo that I used again. So it looks like a single continuous piece with his clothing. And believe it or not, guys, that is all there is to Chatterer. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, please leave a comment, and I'll see you next time.